What's going on, everybody? Scott, I'm coming at you. We're gonna go over our 2023 annual gift guide. I swear this gets earlier and earlier every year, but we're already seeing Black Friday sales coming out. So we're gonna go through that. And again, if I have any discounts, anything that I've seen that I know about, I will let you know. I will link everything down below and you can check all that out. Also, I'm gonna have some other things that maybe we don't talk about in the video, but maybe something that you're looking for, such as a putting green that I like, all that. I will link that also down below on my Amazon page, so you can go check that out. But without further ado, we're gonna get into these devices. Now, before I go further into the devices, I just wanna say, I'm gonna break them up a little bit by, hey, what would you need if you're gonna get a setup, some of the things that I like, some of the training aids and some of the tools I use in my own game, and then some of the training aids I use for my students that have kind of stood the test of time. I do have the advantage of I teach a lot of different people, so for me, it's really important to have a lot of different aids that might help that one person. If it's just gonna help that one person have a better lesson, that is something that I wanna be able to do. So I get them, and then I can report to you how this might help you as you're going through. Now, let's start off with the good stuff, all right? So obviously, bigger and bigger thing in the golf world is golf simulators and home setups. This is getting crazy good. Obviously, I am a Flightscope Mevo Plus guy. I love this device. I have the 2023 version, and with this, combined with GS Pro, this is awesome. I also love the PC app. I use this app when I'm practicing. I use GS Pro when I'm playing. I also have Face Impact, and I have the Pro package turned on, which is phenomenal. For me as a teacher, it's essential. You have to have it, I think, if you're a teacher. But if you are serious about getting into what you're trying to do with improving your game, I think it's really, really helpful. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of different monitors out there. There is a Black Friday sale going on with this, and if you use the code SHG+, you get an additional discount off it. But if you're somebody that's looking for a different launch monitor, you're looking for a photo unit, you have a smaller space, or that's just what you like, then I am a big fan of the Foresight units. I think they work really well. They are very, very trusted. Obviously, we see them on tour for a lot of yardage gapping and distance gapping at events. And the best part about those type of units, I think the biggest advantage that they have is they have the display on the screen. So if you want to go travel a little bit and not have to bring a device with to see your data, then I like those types of devices as we're going through. Again, I'm a radar guy. There's reasons for that. I've talked about it in the past. We don't need to get into it. But if you want to go with that photo unit and that's where you like to be, Foresight units I love. And those are something I would check out. Just make sure you check out the plans, because again, I think GS Pro is the best simulation software out there. So make sure you do your research on how you want to set that up, because there's quite a bit of plans and everything that you have to be aware of as you are going through. Now, if you're going setup, then a great thing to do is check out Enclosures and your setup. So things that you're going to need a great hitting mat. I can't stress this enough that this is going to be one of the most important things you invest in when you get a simulator setup, the hitting surface that you hit off of. When I first got mine, I got a fairly cheap mat. I think actually I got it given to me, and there's probably a reason it was given to me. It was really bad. I would get a lot of pain in my elbow, and it was not a ton of fun to go hit golf balls. I would make sure you check out mats that are high quality. So the place that I like for you to check out is actually at Carl's place. They do a great job of having a great selection. And honestly, anything that's going to be going with your setup, whether it's the enclosure, your hitting screens, you're getting into hitting mats, or even projectors. I have the BenQ. I have two of them up there if you can actually see them. I have a high quality one, which is the 4K, right? And that's going to be a beast, but it's also very expensive. But I also have the 1080p one that is much more budget friendly. And honestly, that one is a really good projector as well, as long as you can control the lighting that's in your room a little bit more. Obviously, when I do these videos, we got to have it bright in here. So I want to make sure I have that 4K projector so I can still see the screen pretty good. So that is something you have to think about. But the best part about going to Carl's is you can talk to them, and that's what I did. We have a project that we're working on, and I needed some advice on how to do things. You talk to them. They have talked to so many people in so many different setups. They will go through and make sure you have everything you need and make sure that you think of everything you should think of as you're going through with your setup. All right, so let's get into things that have helped my game as we go through, okay? So I've talked about this obviously before. This is gonna be something you've seen, but it still holds true as probably the best thing that I have added to my game, and that's the stack system. This is something you've seen on tour. It is swing training and speed training, right? That's what it's doing. And I have not stuck with a workout longer than I have with the Stack. I'm still doing this after 2 years of having the device. It is something that's the best part about it, the app that they have, where it tells you what to do. It's changing up your workouts. I don't have to think about it. I just need to come out here, fire it up. I pair it with the Mevo Plus. It works for that with their swing training mode, but there's plenty of other ways to get your speed. But this device has helped me get my swing speed. When I started back doing this, I was at like 265 yards for my potential distance. I went through the winter, I'd gotten it up over 300 yards in just a couple of months. Now, I didn't do it over the summer as much as I should have while I was playing a little bit more and I was working a ton teaching, but I fell off to 280, and just doing it again a couple of weeks, I'm back up over that 300. My goal for next season is to do their maintenance mode a little bit more, which they added, where you can just kind of keep things going throughout the season. And then honestly, their putting section that they added, which that's kind of an odd combo when you think about it. You have a speed training system with a putting system, but the putting part is awesome. Now you can get the putting part separate on your own, but it does come with it if you get the speed training system. And again, something that I've continued to do. I would highly recommend it as something that would really help your game, especially if you don't have a place to hit, you just want to get working on some things in your swing. This is something that would really, really help you out. Now, another device I use all the time in my game, I talk about it when we are working on things, you need feedback if you're going to change your swing. So I needed to work on getting my swing to a draw. That's where I like to play from. So two things that I use all the time to be able to do that. Obviously, I use the launch monitor. I'm always checking my club path, my face angle, all that stuff to make sure I'm going to draw the ball. But then what I do is I throw it on a camera. And so this Liveview Pro 2 is what I use. This camera is awesome. It's higher speed and it's clearer, and especially indoors, it works really well. So this is the camera I think you're going to want if you're in a little bit lower lighting, and it gives you a really, really crisp, slow image. Now, let me say that with a little bit of a grain of salt. People buy this, I think, and thinking they're getting like a camera, like something I'm filming on. That's not the purpose of this. This is essentially a digital mirror. That is what it is. And that's why I like it, because you pair it up to a device, you know, my iPad or my phone, you put that on the ground, and this is on the iRange stand, which I'll talk about in a sec. I put this back here, and I can actually look at my swing, and I can practice positions and see what's going on. And then when I hit a shot, it will automatically record it. So I keep recording my sessions, especially if I'm hitting it good. I want those recorded so I can look at those swings and say, all right, how is that where I want to be? And then if I'm off, I can compare the differences as we go. I also use this a ton in short game and putting. It works well for that, and you can go from there. If you don't want the Liveview Pro 2, they do have the regular Pro, which actually is going to have a Black Friday special on it. So you can check that out. You also get discounts down below in the links. So something that I think has been really, really helpful, and something that I use really all the time. I can't imagine practicing and swinging and then not being able to look at it and see how it's looking. I just feel like I would be lost and just wandering around with my swing if I didn't do that. So if you're gonna do video though, you're gonna have to put it on something and make it a lot easier. So I use these iRange stands. I actually have 3 of them here in the studio. So this is the one that I just set aside. I'll put my iPad on it when I'm teaching, or actually you can see I have a magnet that I've installed on this. You can just buy these and it goes into the camera, and I can just pop this on there. It's super secure for these devices. It's easy to move, and it goes up and down. It's not gonna go super tall, right? It's not gonna be like 6 feet in the air, but for filming your swing, it's gonna be plenty of height for what you need. I also have the indoor bases on these, but this also comes with, this base is removable, and it can have a spike where you can easily put it in your golf bag. So a lot of like the influencers and stuff you see on social media, they use these for filming, and you can buy a little MagPuck magnet, or you can just use the ones that come with it and put it for your phone, and you can stick your phone on there as well. So if you're not looking to get a camera like this, you can still just use this stand with your phone. And the key is, it has to be easy to use. If it's not easy, you're not going to be able to use it. If it's hard to carry around, you're not going to use it. The tripods I put on these cameras that are holding a lot of stuff, those things are hard to carry. I don't like carrying them around. And here in the studio, you can see them. You can see one over here. They have a massive footprint. So I have a small space. I can't have a bunch of tripods all over the place. I'm basically maxed out on my room as we go. So you have a smaller footprint that I like. And again, just super easy to move around. You can see how easy it was to grab it, place it where I need to go. And then you're done. And kind of last two devices that I use as we go through, I work on these with students, but I use it for my own game. I like tech devices. The biggest thing about tech devices now is it's a little bit easier. You get a little bit more fine-tuned with the data that you're getting, and you can kind of communicate that data a little bit easier. So two of them that I use that I like. The first one, I picked this up at the PGA show last year. This is the DeWiz. Okay, I've talked about it a little bit, but it's just basically a wristwatch. It's a wearable tech, and when you're hitting shots with it, it'll actually just auto record and it will say, all right, hey, this is what that swing looked like. And what it does is it's on your lead wrist. So imagine it's here where my watch is, and you're gonna go through and it'll say, all right, hey, you went on this path with your lead arm. So let's say I'm trying to hit a draw. I'd want to be going more up. And as I transition, I need the club moving more behind me, more on that shallower path as we're going through. That would be a big help. It also will track your hand speed, all of these good things that will really help you. It also will help you decide where you are releasing the club and what point that maximum hand speed is happening from impact. All of those good things that can really help you. So again, I like this device for that. But the big thing I also like is I can practice in here with it, but you can actually take this out on the golf course. I can turn the app on and just have it going in the background. Wear this while I'm playing, it just starts tracking shots, and then I can actually compare the data of what's going on when I'm on the course versus when I'm in here practicing. So if I'm seeing something while I'm practicing, but I'm not seeing it on the course, I can see what is going on. And that is a very common occurrence, by the way, when you're doing that. And then one last little thing here, this is a blast motion sensor. I've had these all the way from the start. This is their newest generation of the sensor. I've had it from the Gen 1 start. They used to just be for putting. This is a device, it has a little holder. It sits right on the top of your putter, and it's going to measure things like what is your putting tempo, how fast are you swinging the putter, how much is the face rotating, a lot of good stuff that you are looking for. It's kind of like a very, very consumer-friendly version of a SAM Putt Lab. You know, when I had that, that was nice, but it was very, very complicated to set up for kind of a person that didn't know, or even for me that's used it a lot. It just takes time to calibrate it and set it, where this device is a lot easier. So you're gonna get a lot, kind of more generic numbers. You're not gonna get all of the acceleration profiles, stuff like that, but you're gonna get a good idea of what is going on. So I like using this one because it has a really good practice mode. So if I just wanted to practice here, I can do that and then just see what my numbers are. It'll give me green, yellows, and reds, kind of very consumer friendly, as I said, just to make sure you kind of know what's going on. And they also have a really good training program. This does do full swing, short game stuff now too. So they have a great training program that'll take you through like, hey, start looking at this number, then look at this number, then look at this. If you go through that, I think you're gonna get better at what it's working on, and that's really, really helpful when you're buying a device. So another really good one that is not crazy expensive to get. All right, let's get into some of the training aids, the more practical training aids, such as, you know, not tech related, all that stuff. These are gonna be things that maybe you carry a lot more in your golf bag, all of those things, or just something that's a little bit easier, more friendly to use. So I would typically think of these as things I would use maybe before a round, or I just use them with a lot of students. And so that is really, really helpful. You know, it just means that it passes the test, that it can help a lot of people on some really core fundamental things in their golf game. So first one, I'm not going to talk long about this because we just did a video about it, but this putting thing, I've continued to use this. This thing is awesome. I really like it. And the stimp meter part of it coming out with some other things that they have coming out, it's really going to be cool. So if you're at home putting and that's what you do in the winter, I'd highly recommend this device. Get it on with your putting mat. It will really help you, okay? So check that out. The other thing from Y Golf that they have, you can see I have tons of stuff from their aids that I like. I use their pressure plate all the time. I have their chipping plate as well. I also love the arm alarm that they have. So the arm alarm is something that we use where you are trying to get more shallow. If you are trying to get more shallow, that is a great aid. I also like it because it's very friendly to use in putting. I actually started using it a lot in putting, which was not something I actually expected, but if you're trying to keep some structure in your arms, we do that. And also in chipping, if I don't want to be moving my arms all over the place, I want to keep my body going with my pivot, very, very helpful as you go, all right? Another device I use all the time, I use this with pretty much anybody that is a newer student. This is going to be the Gravity Fit. This thing is huge because what this does is it teaches you how to use your arms. It also teaches you how to use your body properly, so getting a pivot. You are actually going to see this in an upcoming video where I do a live lesson series. You will see this in the second lesson series of that video, okay? So this is going to be a huge one. But again, you can use this on putting. It kind of works a little bit like an arm alarm, but this one actually has a little bit of fitness in it too, because what I like in training aids is I like when the training aid doesn't do it for you. I want it to show you where to move or how to move, but I don't want it to do it for you. I want you to actually have to do the work. So this device does that in spades because you are actually fighting these bands the whole time. So this device is huge, and when I have people that are really brand new and they're trying to get into the game, this device has been really good. Or where it actually really helps a lot too is for people that really struggle with making contact. If you're topping the ball all the time or you're shanking it all the time, this has been really helpful because what happens when those things are happening is your body and your arms are not connected. And so it ends up being really, really helpful to figure out how to do that. So a really, really good aid that I use, again, at least on a daily basis, if not with a lot of different lessons as we go through. And then we've got the ProSendr. Again, we've talked about this. I use this device a lot. I use the wrist part a lot more, okay? So the wrist cradle, it obviously has the ball that goes with it too, so the shallowing ball or the sphere as they call it. I use the wrist part the most because again, I use some other tools that I find a little bit easier to use, and I think it resonates a little bit with students a little bit more. But you can get this device knowing you're going to get the ball with it, and that's going to help you out. Again, it's a great tool, but I like using this device for the wrist part because when we're getting the wrist to go, I want people to realize, hey, I don't want to roll my wrists open, any of that. The wrist, especially your trail wrist, is just supposed to bend back. And that's what this device does. It can help people understand how to load their wrist and then unload it, and then also how to not just flare the club face open. That's something we will try to do with it a lot as well. So it's a great aid. Obviously, you see it a lot on tour. There's a reason for that. And you've seen a lot of uses come out from it that are kind of evolving on a daily basis. So a great aid because you're going to get a bunch of different uses out of it, and you can kind of cover a couple of bases with just one aid. And last one here that I'm going to show you, this is the lag shot. So I love this device. It's just a flexible club. They actually have a couple different ones. This is the 7-iron. I have the ladies one too. If you are a lady out there, this is a great, great tool. If you're looking to get into the game, I highly recommend it. It's the one, again, you're going to see it in our live lesson series with our female student, because what we are doing with this club is you are learning to load and unload the club. That is a huge part of swinging a golf club. So we do this. It's also heavier. It also is it's actually a conforming club. You could play with this if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend that, but it's also going to help you learn how to square up the club face really, really well. So it's one of those devices where if you're looking to kind of get into a flow, it's just one of those overall, hey, I want to feel like I'm swinging the club, I'm getting a feel for things. I can work on getting some speed up with it because you can work on how you're loading it. But this device really helps with your more beginning players, and I would say more into the intermediate levels where you're trying to figure out why your swing doesn't have good flow to it. It doesn't have that easy feel to it like you see it. Like you look at people that hit the ball far, but it doesn't look like they're trying hard. This is a great aid because you have to learn how the club loads and unloads to be able to make those things happen. So I really like this one as we go through as well. So it's been really, really helpful. All right, so that is the aids that I kind of like there. Again, some of them you're gonna have seen. They're not gonna be a ton of new ones in there, but that's because I found the ones that I find that stand the test of time. That's the biggest thing as you're going through golf training aids. So many of them come out on a yearly or even like a monthly basis, and we have the PGA show coming up. We're gonna see more stuff. And so the stuff I talk about in this video is the stuff that I find that just works, okay? So everything that I link below is the stuff that I use all the time. Now, again, I have some other things that I use, but I don't use them as regularly, but I will link those. Those are going to be in the Amazon page that I link below. If you're looking for some more ideas, you know, Scott, hey, none of those kind of fit what I think I need, but I want some more ideas. I'll share with you those devices there so you can kind of tell, hey, those are the ones that are not a daily basis thing that I use. I use them when they're really kind of specifically needed, all right? So that's where I will have all that. But if you're looking for that stuff, I haven't even talked about, there's great tools. It's such a great age to be in golf because you have things like Arccos. I used that this year. It was awesome. I loved it. I love being able to see my stats. And by the way, it did match up. It tracks your driver distance at 280. I have a video coming out talking about my training plan for the winter. And honestly, I was hitting at 280 with this. That's what it said I hit it all season as we go. So that was comforting to see that everything matches up. But as we go through, there's so many toys and so many tools that you can check out. So if you're looking for ideas for yourself or for somebody else, make sure you check those links out down below. I will try to help you out. And if you have any questions, if there's something that I missed that somebody might find interesting, check that out. Or if you have any questions, I can find out what's going on with certain devices, what it does. Leave those comments down below. I will get back to you as soon as we can. It's a great time of year. Those Black Friday specials are coming, or they are already here. So it's time to look at stuff that's going to help us and get some new toys that gets us excited about the game, because that's what it's all about, right? We're all crazy golfers that just buy all this stuff. So if you have any questions, make sure you let me know. And as always, click that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already. We'll be showing you how to use all this stuff as we go through, all right? So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.